Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, the South African Wanderer, and it's just gone about 8 o'clock now. Load shedding just finished, so I decided to jump on quickly and do this video for a couple of reasons. Firstly, last night we went past 4,000 watched hours on the channel. I don't know if you remember, but I did a video late last year about the numbers of YouTube, and the two conditions to be monetized are 1,000 subscribers, which we passed in November, and then 4,000 watched hours in a 365-day period. So yesterday the channel went past that. I then needed to apply to YouTube to become part of their partner program, and hopefully that gets approved soon, and the videos on the channel will start making some money. I'll keep you all abreast of that earning stream as we go along. The second thing I wanted to quickly discuss, and the main focus of this video, is ChatGPT. So you may or may not have heard about this, but the ChatGPT program is a chat bot made by OpenAI, which is a company that I think was founded by Elon Musk and had a big donation from Microsoft as well, to develop artificial intelligence. And one of the first products they've put out is this chatbot that made a splash when it was launched, I think about 2 months ago as a beta version. And I decided to sign up and try it out and see how much of a threat it is to the jobs of, I don't know, content creators like what I'm doing at the moment. So I tried to log in this afternoon, and besides the load shedding, one of the reasons I couldn't make this video is the servers on the ChatGPT bot or the ChatGPT beta were overloaded. So the traffic they were experiencing was too great for their servers to handle, and basically everyone was locked out for a good 3 hours, and then I got on earlier on in the evening. So I decided to quickly go through and ask it a few questions and see what the answers were, and to share it with you guys, just to see how good this chatbot is. I don't know how it works or what the computing behind it is. It's just like I wouldn't know how the Google search bar works, for instance. But it does seemingly work. So I think let's go through some of the results that I did get. So the first thing I did was go through and ask it for the top 10 wildlife photography tips. So if you recall, Prasheen and I sat down in the Kruger and we put down our top 10 tips, and then the bot replies almost as if it's typing it as you reading it almost. So the top 10 tips that it came back for wildlife photography were: know your subject, so research the behavior and the habitat of the animal you photographing. And that's a very valid tip, because if you want to photograph lions, for instance, then there's certain areas you will go to photograph lions. If you want to get certain birds or certain bird species, then you'll go to different areas. You'll know that you need to probably sit in a hide and be very patient and wait for the bird to show up, or go fishing for fish, etc. And then you can get your shots of that specific bird. or animal. Then it says choose the right equipment and invest in a good camera, lens, and tripod. Yeah, your camera equipment as a wildlife photographer, you're looking at very high frame rate, good autofocus tracking, long enough lenses for the subject matter you're choosing. So if you're choosing big animals, you may need a 70 to 200 or, up to a 300 mil. If you're looking at bird photography and birds in flight, then you're looking at 600 mils, possibly with an extender on it as well. The better the glass quality, the more expensive it's going to be. So yeah, so it's choose the right equipment. What I would add to that is for your budget. So if you're going to get pictures, for instance, of a leopard, half the effort is in knowing the camera settings, etc., to get the leopard, and the other half is actually being out in the bush and seeing the leopard. You're not going to see the leopard walking down your neighborhood, except if you were living in the south of Joburg, you possibly could have seen a couple tigers in the last couple of weeks. So number 3 is be patient. Wildlife photography often requires waiting for the right moment. I think wildlife photography, or the person who takes up wildlife photography, is a strange one, because they're up at all hours of the night to go out and get the good light, the golden hour early in the morning. And then they can sit, for hours on a sighting, just waiting for the right, interaction, or the right moment when, animals give you a image that can then tell a story. So number 4 is then get close, fill the frame with your subject, and to create impactful images. I think Prasheen and I touched on this. To get this done, you need, the right lenses, etc., and you want to be as close to the animal as possible. So yes, I would agree with that. 5 is use a fast shutter speed. This will help freeze the action and prevent blur. They're talking about motion blur here. Although, some photographers, wildlife photographers, do delve in panning and things where you actually show the motion of an animal, the wing beats, or, an animal jumping through the long grass or something like that, which can be quite artistic, and that's something you can try out as you get more advanced. But in general, I also agree with this that faster shutter speed, you want to freeze the action because animals are moving. So what we would generally do is you use the 1 over your focal length. So say you're shooting a 600 mil lens, you need to then be at least as fast as 1 over 600th of a second or faster. I would say if the animals are moving, quite a bit, to freeze any motion, you want to be over 1 over 2000th of a second and upwards. Then I think rule 6 will fall in with rule 5, which is use low ISO. This will reduce noise and increase image quality. So you want as low an ISO as possible, given what your shutter speed is and your aperture on your lenses. So it also ties in with the quality of your glass. 7 is use natural light. Early morning and late afternoon provide the best lighting for wildlife photography. Again, golden hour, everyone chases for that, but there are situations where you can also use flash. You can use floodlight at night. So learn almost how to photograph in any lighting condition that you may be faced with when you're out in the bush. Use a telephoto lens. Again, this ties back into rule number 4, and probably rule number 2 as well. So you want to close the distance between you and your subject, and make it seem as if the animal is filling the frame as much as possible. Number 9 is pay attention to the background. Cluttered or distracting backgrounds can distract from the subject. This is particularly true with bird photography, where branches get in the way, and what you striving for is, a uniform green or a uniform cream background that makes then the bird stand out. To get that, it's a little bit of choosing the right equipment again, but also positioning yourself so that you don't have branches sticking out of animal heads and things like that. And then number 10, respect wildlife, never disturb the animals in their habitats, and follow ethical guidelines for wildlife photography. I think this was our 10th rule as well when we sat down and chatted about it. There are photographers who will bait animals. There are photographers who will do things that are, pushing the boundaries of the ethicalness of photography, just so they can get that shot that's going to get them, out there and go viral. I think it's not about doing that. Respect the animals. Don't go try and find that tiger on the loose just to get a photograph. The 10th rule is actually on point. Should have been rule number 1 before you even start doing everything else. But yeah, I think in terms of the rules that he did give out, if you are someone who's already doing it and know the subject matter quite in depth, I think these rules make a lot of sense. But if you are, I think, just starting off without that knowledge or the in-depth explanation, this can be rather vague and almost all-encompassing. So, if you were a beginner photographer coming into the wildlife space, I don't know, using your entry-level camera with a kit lens, some of these points won't make sense until you go through the almost hours in the field learning why all of these actually are important. So yeah, I think a very good start, but also I think there's a lot of interpretation between the lines and a lot of detail that needs to be fleshed out on what is basically the bare bones of wildlife photography tips. I then went through and did a quick follow-up question just to check what else the bot is capable of. So I put in what are the top 5 travel destinations in South Africa. So what it came back with is Cape Town, top of the list. I think for many tourists it is top of the list. And it says known for its natural beauty, including Table Mountain and Cape of Good Hope. I think, and much, much more. The wine route, the hikes, the birding in places like Kirstenbosch or in Taka, Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens itself, so yeah, it's I think deservedly on the top. Kruger National Park, yes, I would highly recommend anyone visiting South Africa to visit Kruger National Park. But I think there are many other national parks worth visiting if you are in South Africa. And it doesn't almost factor in that if you are in Cape Town, for instance, getting back to the Kruger Park is a 2-hour flight and then another 45-minute to an hour flight out to Nelspruit. So logistically, you have to still work that out. Garden route with the scenic coastal drive that takes you through forests, lagoons, and beaches. I'm actually doing the garden route next week and hopefully can highlight some of these scenery that we're going to see. I would agree that it is deserving to be in the top 5, maybe not at 3 though. Possibly for me lower down in the list because I stay in Johannesburg and I would have pushed Johannesburg higher up in the list. And then it says Durban, a bustling city known for its beaches, vibrant culture, and history. Um, I've never been a tourist in Durban, so for me, Durban, again, yes, the beaches for swimming, the bunny chows, yes, maybe, and yeah, it's got a lot of history, but I don't think a lot of people actually appreciate the history of, I think, Natal as a province in general, and then Durban itself as well. And then last on the top five is Johannesburg. I think Johannesburg deserves to be higher up. A lot of tourists see it as a pass through on their way to Cape Town or to the Kruger. So we're going to work on that and make it a bit of a tourist destination. So yeah, I mean these again good suggestions, vague but good for someone who's South African and knows South Africa. I think it's very easy to talk in depth about all of these top five. But again, I think you would have to almost unpack each of these points. So the next question I could ask the chat GPT is, you know, if I'm traveling solo, please expand on travel tips for solo travelers in Cape Town. And let's see what it gives us. And you can read the tips it came up with for solo travel in Cape Town, which are, I think, all very valid. So yeah, I am quite surprised at how good the robot is on its first iteration, almost in its beta testing, maybe not first iteration. And it gives really good answers, but I still feel there's some room for subject matter experts to come in and flesh out the bones that it does put together, the skeleton almost that it puts together. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch how this develops. Maybe I should do a video where I tell the chat GPT robot, write me a script for my channel, and let's see what it comes up with. All right, cool. I'm traveling next week, so I will try to do a few lives as I go along, but hopefully it's going to be a good trip down to, through the Eastern Cape and then into Cape Town and then back up to Johannesburg. But we'll catch you in a couple of weeks' time, back to normal video content. But until then, I think, yeah, thanks for all the views and for the more than 1,140 subscribers. And yeah, if you find this video useful, hit that like and subscribe button. And yeah, catch you in a couple of weeks' time.